been assigned. In this particular elect, what were you assessing?
Well, we had always known that the EC's bungled process of this new register is not just a shambolic one, but one that is riddled with a lot of corruption. If you look at the fact that we have chanced upon the evaluation report, first of all, the evaluation report is now feeding out from everybody. It took about 4 months to do the process, and the bosses didn't like the outcome, so they ditched the entire process. And within a week, put together a new tender committee. In fact, the tender committee's work was so badly done that the chairman decided that it wasn't going to be part of the new process. In fact, the 4-month process was so badly done that the chairman disowned the new process. And indeed, after just 1 week of setting up the new tender committee, they spent just 1 day to evaluate a contract worth millions of dollars. And the person who chaired that committee was someone who had no knowledge of the IT system, was just a new lawyer, had no clue what he was doing on the committee, and returned the fact that a company called Tax, which is a French company, had won the bid. Now, if you look at the reasons for coming up with that, suggesting that Talis had won the bid, which, by the way, is a $72 million contract. I'm hearing now that even though the contract seems to have been, the evaluation had been done, I'm hearing that that's the February 20th. The tender committee, the Ministry of Finance, is not happy, and so has been asking for revisions to the 72 million, and they are currently at around 59 million. Keep that figure in mind, 59 million, if we have to believe what has been said. Now, Talis was supposed to have won the bid because apparently it did not have any issues. Now, the other competitors, Mathematic, and I think I've forgotten the other one. The Mathematic was the closest competitor who was, according to the shambolic tender process, outbid by Talis. Now, Mathematic was set, one of the reasons the EC gave for not accepting Mathematic was because they said politicians had threatened the Electoral Commissioner of the Philippines when Mathematic had won that country's bid to organize the biometrically verified election. That was just the only reason, in fact, one or two reasons why they said Mathematic was outbidden. Now, they had nothing to say at all about Talis. But we found out that Talis itself wasn't clean at all. In fact, Talis had been probably banned at one point by the World Bank for corrupt practices procurement. The thing that Talis and its accomplice, Dimarato, which is another company, was so badly serving the government of Estonia that its whole ID system had to be compromised. And I think they had to pay some of almost, millions of dollars were lost because of that. In Taiwan, the procurement process was so bad that I think the death of the head of the procurement entity in Taiwan was linked to this process that Talis was involved. So the point I'm making is that the shambolic evaluation process was such that it was completely blind to something more grievous that Talis had committed than just the fact that Mathematic was involved in a situation where the politicians are threatening the Electoral Commission in the Philippines. And we saw politicians threatening Electoral Commissions everywhere, anyway. They do it anyway. They are doing it here in Ghana. So that cannot be enough justification, especially when there was nothing toward found. So those are the main issues. But the other issue we mentioned really has to do with the cost and the risk. But before we still stand by.
Before we go to the cost and the risk, so basically what you're saying first is that a 4-month evaluation was carried out. You described that as bungled. Then
it was bungled because the EC itself disowned the process. Because presumably their favorite company did not win the bid.
So are you saying that that process was bad or badly carried out, or you are saying that the EC was not happy with the outcome?
The EC wasn't happy with the outcome. In fact, the letters that we have cited back and forth clearly show that they were not happy with the outcome. In fact, at that, with the previous evaluation report, Smartmatic was almost going to win the bid. And they had to reconstitute the process again. And all of a sudden, Calais wins based on this trumped-up charges that Smartmatic was involved in a country where the network officials were threatened by politicians. But we were saying that the reasons are not sound. But you see, even if we want to go into the merit and demerit of the tender process, we have fundamental disagreements with the cost of the exercise and the risky nature of the entire process as well. So the point I'm making is that the tender evaluation process was corrupted because after 4 months of apparently doing some work, in a bid to procure very expensive systems, the substance who was supposed to have been the eventual winner ditched the entire process. And within a week, set up a committee and used 1 day to determine a contract for the company that eventually won. So there's nothing sound about the evaluation process at all. That's why it was kept out of the public domain. If I tell you how we managed to set the evaluation reports, you'll marvel. Now, that tells you that this is a public institution that claims that it's doing everything about what? In fact, taxes. Claims that it is constitutionally mandated to mislead and deceive the entire public. This is unfair. So getting into the merits of the cost, we still maintain. Look, my brother, we purchased biometric verification machines, I think, in 2011. We've continued for the 2012 elections, right? Now, the first election returned almost 33% errors, which means that that was a freshly acquired machine. In spite of the piloting, we still have problems where we have to manually verify about 33%, well, more or less, on the votes. Now, the subsequent elections in 2016, these reduced almost to I think 12 or 15%. Then in 2019, this December, when we use it for the district level elections, it came down to as low as 7%, which means that the system is improving as a result of continued use. And what it also means is that because the EC system shows that they've been investing in maintenance and buying stuff that may not be existent, and they spent $60 million already on the process. It means that if we were to use the same system to deliver the next elections, we might probably have next to zero error rate. Now, this is the system that the EC wants to ditch as a result of lies they told, that the whole system is so bundled, all the biometric machines are so worn out and so bad that even though they use them in December, they cannot salvage any of them at all. We argue, based on the figures we've seen, based on the investment plan of the EC, which you found from the Ministry of Finance anyway, which they submitted to the Ministry of Finance, we are of the view that if we go by that plan and decide to replace parts that may be supposedly worn out, the EC should spend only $50 million in doing the entire election. Well, instead of buying either 56 million, which they initially told us the machines will cost, the hardware will cost, but which the tender evaluation returned 72 million, we do not think that it's a wise use of our money. Don't forget that this is just a hardware acquisition. The software itself might cost about $13 million as well. The EC claims that, well, the old vendor took all the source codes away. Another big lie. XPL was just a middleman for the Dutch company that provided the biometric equipment machines for the first the elections we held. So, the first thing to do, if you are kicked out of XPL, and rightly so, is to go to the owners of the machines, those who own the machines, and tell them that, look, we bought this from you, we've been using them even as late as December 2019, but we are going to conduct a major election. Can you help us if there are any issues or provide some backup support? I mean, you cannot just be lying to the public like that, claiming that you cannot XPS took all everything away. And the IT experts that were so horrible that the EC came to find were the very persons investing in the systems as late as 2019 to deliver a very flawless election. I mean, everywhere you turn, nothing the FCC says makes sense.
Well,
so you want to talk about the risk factors as well. Look, even in their own bundled, trumped up risk evaluation report, the Thales company says they need 85 days to be able to assemble the equipment and probably test the equipment before we can even begin the registration.
85 days.
85 days. But the issue says that they will start the process in April 2020. Now, between now and April, it's less than 85 days that new vendor would have to go and procure machines and do all of that. It's in the center report. I can let you follow a look. Bulky though. And all of that. So, unless the EC has some magical way of doing the thing. But this is my very feeling. I suspect they may be using the same systems they claim are failed. Because that's the only reason why they can actually start it in April. And then, I mean, I'm just hazarding the guess. But I won't put anything past the EC now because they've been lying separately. So it is most likely that they can't meet the April deadline if they were to use the new system that the so-called vendor who won will be implemented. But the vendor itself says 85 days. In fact, Smartmatic, which was outbidden in a good manner, by the way, claimed that they were going to spend about 5 months in order to assemble the equipment. And the reason they gave was because Smartmatic has more experience doing this work than but Smartmatic has conducted 21 successful elections biometric verification machines across the world than Thales, which have done just 7. So I would rather believe Smartmatic when they say they will spend 5 months, which seems to be the more logical reasoning behind as rolling out such a complex system like this. So everywhere you turn, my brother, the EC has no case. And we fear that unless they are providing some magical ways of doing things, the integrity of the electoral process may be called into question, if not already by the way. Yeah.
I'll come back to your argument that the AC has been telling untruths. But let me take you to the highlights you provided on the latest alert you have issued. Now, you said as F, your point F, the second sentence, that the EC also bungled the procurement process, leaving a trail of evidence suggesting tender rigging. Are you saying that from the evidence you've seen, it is possible that the Electoral Commission actually rigged the process in favor of Talis?
That's exactly what I've been telling you. They rigged the process. How do you start a 4-month process, eventually breach it, and use 1 week to constitute a team, and use 1 day to decide on a tender like that? It's pure rigging. I mean, if you thought that, if you thought that the reasons for which they said Talis had won is because mathematics, this company, one of the things they said against mathematics was that when they conducted the elections in the Philippines, the politicians in the Philippines threatened the Electoral Commission of the Philippines, and because of that, mathematics has integrity issues. I mean, how arrant nonsense when to think that Talis, which won, had a plethora of corruption-related cases all over the world. We provided things as well. These are evident, in fact, investigated. They are not any allegations. They were investigated, properly investigated, and they were sanctioned. I'm giving you up 3 instances.
And that is where my worry is. The suggestion
that is where everybody's worried to be.
The suggestion is that the EC chose a vendor with a checkered history ahead of a vendor who's, because basically what you're suggesting about Smartmatic is exactly what would have happened if the EC had gone ahead to choose them in Ghana anyway, because the politicians who are against will raise the same issues.
Well, of course, we do. I mean, elections, politicians threatening the EC, don't they do? MPP threatening the EC, NDC is currently more or less threatening the EC. This is happening all over the world. Can you say that because of that, a company that has the contract, probably who has the experience, should not win a contract because of that? When in actual fact, a company that won had more corruption investigated and concluded corruption allegations against them, and sanctioned and fined in most instances. This one they never saw. That's why we're saying that the tender people actually rigged the process. But we are not also surprised. But the person who said it was an amateur lawyer who had no knowledge of technology systems, whose name was put out there by the way.
Well, that is interesting. A process of this nature that's being conducted in an election year. It was chaired by someone you describe as an amateur lawyer who doesn't know what he or she is doing, no experience at all.
We stand by that.
And then furthermore, you're also suggesting that the EC also picked a company with a checkered history, more prone to corruption.
Just take a look, take your phone, look at the links we gave you. They are not even allegations. Concluded investigations. Fined. In Taiwan, they were fined as well. I mean, the process was bundled, procurement. Even in Guinea, I think, they had issues as well. The World Bank blacklisted them for some time across the world because of corruption. In fact, in South Africa, they've been started in the state capture report, the Zuma thing, as paying bribes as well. It's there.
And I don't know if I heard you correctly. Did you say that choice did not surprise you? The choice of Talis?
Sorry, sir, ask again.
I was asking whether you said that the choice of Talis did not surprise you.
Well, on the face of what we found, then it's actually surprising, but there's also an element of non-surprise, because the EC was minded to do proper evaluation and proper fair evaluation. They wouldn't actually be using flimsy charges against a company far more experienced and then say that the company that won had no sins at all. They have no sins at all. When in actual fact, they have more sins, certified sins, than the more experienced company.
And so you're also saying you're suspecting that we may be seeing some litigation because of this.
Well, because mathematics, don't forget when they lost all the bid to the Dutch the last time, they started on the litigation, really. I'm sure they may be waiting in the wings to do so, given the levels of evidence you have really brought to bear. It's possible. We will just do that work. If it benefits anybody, we just don't care. But also because they, what's it called? Yeah, they are right to do so. But more so, others may be waiting in the saddle to take the EC on. It's possible. People already started asking, filing right information questions about the evaluation process, Pebu and Co. But we went behind and got the right information, the evaluation, tender evaluation, and then put it out as we speak. That's how we make copious references to the tender evaluation report.
And you quoted the $72 million you said was the contract sum, but the initial contract has been sent to the finance ministry. But you said the finance ministry was not happy, and there is a review ongoing. You said currently we are at $59 million from $72 million.
Yeah, so the point I'm making there are two. One, the EC lied to the public when they claimed that the tender, the hard work will cost only $56 million. Eventually, the tender report shows that it was $72 million, because mathematics bidded for, I think, 69 some million thereabout. And then they gave it to Callis. They put it at $72 million. Now, after this, as of February 20th, and I know this on authority, that because the figures were atrociously high, there's an ongoing process to revise the figure, and currently they are 59. But we don't even know whether they will end at 59, or the people will come back and complain that the 59 is too small and probably pad it. So that's the problem we have. So if in the second instance to the EC light, because they claim the figure was 56.
And you're saying that $72 million was only for hardware?
It's only hardware. That's just the BVRs and the BVDs. But the software itself, which they have to procure, plus servicing, will cost estimated about $30 million. So if we add it to 72, we are hitting $85 million. If you add it to the cost of managing the elections itself, you are hitting almost $160 million for a new register and a new election. We are saying no. Stop the entire process. Use the things you have already, which you deployed as recently as 2019 in December, and save the taxpayer a humongous amount of money. Spend only about close to $50 million for hardware, and probably another $30 million to construct the entire site, and save the country millions of dollars. Can save the country more than $100 million by the way. It's atrocious. It's wicked. In tree, say they to Modini abroad. This is what it is. I mean, this is a classic case of that.
Those are very strong words to use for the Electoral Commission.
I'm not using them. It is the conduct that is defining the indefined. Look, let me tell you, if the EC had been very open and fair, and by the way, this is never personal. My own boss is the EC. I worked under her at the IEA. I respect her very much. Maybe she's just not in control, which is the reason why she has to open up and ask for help. But the point is that I suspect that there are hidden figures behind this symbolic process, and unfortunately going to damage a hard-won reputation. It's a mess, complete mess. However you look at it, I'm sorry to say that. IMANI, we don't mean stuff. Even though people say we should say things nicely, if we don't do that, NDC suffered it. I don't see why this my new friend shouldn't suffer the same. Not necessarily suffer. It's the conduct that is being defined.
Well, we're talking about the fact that the $85 million that we may potentially spend to acquire a new system, a software and a hardware, we can put that money aside, spend $15 million to refresh the current system and have a system that is workable. What is your basis for saying that?
My brother, that is what it is. But I just told you, the EC's own investment plan, sustainable investment plan, submitted to the Ministry of Finance, which is in the report as well, show that since 2015 or 2013, they've been continuously upgrading the systems they have. The figures are mentioned, and you and I pay for it. As of 2018, they have spent $60 million in maintaining the systems, which was the reason why they were able to deliver elections in 2016, deliver elections, referendum, deliver elections also in 2017. So it is based on those figures that shows that they can only put some $50 million. They were buying some 2,000 DVRs or DVD machines to do this election, based on the historical improvement in our records in elections. Sorry to say, it is only anybody who hasn't seen the EC's investment plan and the fact that we've been running elections at great success with very low failure rate with the old systems we have, that will doubt this. Secondly, the EC has actually jacked up numbers, bloated the figures of the DVRs and DVD machines by claiming that we pay $3,500 for each. When we've done cost comparators across Africa, and we've seen that Kenya bought them for $750, Nigeria for $1,444, Zimbabwe, a more corrupt country, bought them for $2,000. The DRC, an equally corrupt country, bought them for $2,000. Why in God's name are you buying it for $3,500? Why? Which is all part of the reasons why they are procuring new systems. We say no. Use the old system, which has been giving you impressive records. And if you have any chance of doing anything at all, upgrade it a little bit. Spend $50 million on hardware if you want to, and give us another maybe $20 million to organize the entire elections. Look, the issue of the lie. The thing they lied about also was that under Charlotte, limited registration costs more than the entire registration. Total lie. Their own figures show that in 2010, limited registration cost us $10 million. And in 2016 or 2015, thereabout, the cost was close to $20 million. At no time did the EC spend $50 million, $80 million, $70 million as claimed by the EC on limited registration exercise. I mean, look, you should at least be fair. When you're lying, we all lie sometimes. They are permissible lies, but these are grievous lies. All in the bid to just to say that the process was wrong. And so the EC came and told us that the IT department was in such a mess that there's no IT person working. Meanwhile, the same IT people have been responsible for the maintenance of the first. We delivered almost flawless elections, 3 elections since 2016. Why?
And you're saying that the whole adventure towards a new register will cost the Ghanaian taxpayer about $150 million in losses. A $150 million loss.
If you look at the tender evaluation bid and the economic rationalization we gave for not going for a new register, that's a loss of wasteful enterprise. Waste.
Let me ask you one question about the timing, because you're talking about the fact that the vendor that has been selected is talking about 85 days in order to put the system in place. Do they necessarily need that system before going ahead to do a mass registration exercise?
Oh, yes. You see, even in the battled rigged evaluation report, the company that had only 7 experiences across the world tells you that, look, I need 85 days to assemble, to do everything in order to start the process. 85 days from the time the contract may have been awarded. As we speak, the contract has not been awarded because the Ministry of Finance is finalizing the figure. By the time they get their final money, then they get notification of the amount of money they have to pay. And then import the machines, assemble them, test them, do all of this. They said they need 85 days. It is in consequence, it is a direct variance with the EC phone April deadline for starting the registration. That is obvious. That's why they are saying that if they managed to start anything in April, they would have been using the old systems. And we need to even check those things as well. You guys were shining your eyes. The point is really simple. The company that is more superior and more experienced said they will need 5 months. One of the reasons they were rather chucked out.
The last question on the highlights you provided, then I'll ask you a question because this morning we've been hearing something from the president. You are saying that the proposed mediation process by Ghana & Co. Alternate Dispute Resolution Center is wise and must be considered by all parties. Why?
Well, look, no matter how hot and cold we all blow, at some point, reason must prevail. If the EC's own eminent advisory committee that is set up, it doesn't seem to respect it because it has not been able to mediate anything, then an alternate dispute resolution master decides to offer their services. The last I heard was that the EC said they are too busy for alternate dispute I think it's a wise and a welcoming idea which ought to be explored, especially when it's free. I think Ghana can handle this thing within 90 minutes. He can. So that we'll know. But because the motivations for going ahead are more daring and insidious and insipid, what it means clearly is that it's not going to happen.
So once you're suggesting that you suspect that the EC is not even interested in sitting down to negotiate with anybody, they are bent on taking this road, no matter where it takes us.
If they were interested, when IMANI brought its alternate record the first time, you know what they did? They invited smaller CSO into meetings and called it a stakeholder meeting. I mean, I don't see that. Not that we want to be invited. You know, the thing about money people don't realize is that we never want to be brought to the table all the time. You keep misbehaving. We'll keep accounting for your misbehavior anyway. The point is that whether you invite us or not, I was just trying to make the point that if we were truly interested in solving this matter, we will have the EC's own IT experts do their PowerPoint, which they lied about. All that PowerPoint, everything in that PowerPoint is a lie. They should put it across. Then we also do our PowerPoint, and then let people ask questions and see the persons who are telling you the truth.
Well, in actual fact, the EC has never. It must be admitted that the EC has not challenged what you put out the last time. But
point, they haven't, because they know they can't. They don't have alternate facts, but they know very well that what they are saying is true. In fact, the gentleman who is the IT person was lying on the CTFM, and I asked them to call me about the prices of these biometric verification machines. It was boldly lying, and I checked him out, and I told him that, look, we never said that only a component of the machines will cost what's it called, the comparator countries we were bringing across. He has not even entertained the thought that these countries have done far more better than us, who were trying to procure machines at $3,500. You see, never underestimate the mind of a determined tax waster. they'll go ahead because it's the tragedy of the common. What belongs to you, you tend to take care of. What belongs to everybody tends to fall into disrespect. That's a classic example of the EC's advisors. I think the EC is being misled, is being badly advised by the IT people, and I dare say they are pressing their personal interest.
My last and final question has to do with the president, what the president has been saying in Norway. Now, he says that to him, it makes sense, the compilation of a new register. His only reason is that in 2004, a new register was compiled. In 2012, a new register was compiled. So it's another 8 years. So it makes sense to compile a new register. What do you make of that?
It's mathematically and economically not correct. It doesn't mean that because every year you grow, you should go and replace one of your fingers and your toenails. It doesn't mean that. I mean, even if you were a ruminant and have 4 stomachs, you are not going to add another stomach because you are growing. You are still regurgitating and making sure that you are using the 4 stomachs that you have as a ruminant. Same as a human being. The more you grow, the more you don't grow extra, what's it called, heads, extra fingers, extra toenails. That analogy is weak.